Okay,
Or it
We-
started, it's
Oh, it's prepared.
streaming into it.
so it's saying,
Yeah.
oh, give me a shout when we're ready to go.
Good.
Okay. So we can go ahead and call the planning commission regular meeting Monday, November 10th, to order at 6:30 p.m. Start with roll call
Tanya Harrison,
here.
Mark Hall,
Here.
Chris Bolin,
Here.
Sarah Tremblay,
Here.
Chris Rainey,
Here.
Gail Foodie,
Here.
Fonda Nadell.
Here.
Quorum.
Okay, do we have approval of the agenda?
Madam Chair, I move to approve the agenda as listed.
Seconded.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Okay, moving on, approval of the consent calendar, record excused absence of Tanya Harrison and Chris Bolin from the October 28, 2025 special meeting. Do you have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
Madam Chair.
No.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the consent calendar.
Okay, approved, and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Hearing none opposed, consent calendar is. Are there any disclosures, conflicts of interest in ex parte communications?
I will say it every time I am on the board for Cordova Telecom, I know that it's. Has nothing to do with anything like that, but I always say that I always disclose that.
Okay. Doesn't appear that we have any correspondence, communications by petitions from visitors, guest speakers, we have, Kristen Smith. Chris.
Hi there, Kristen Smith, 507 4th Street, but also representing the Prince William Sound Economic Development District here tonight, and I just wanted to call folks' attention to the beginning of a 5-year planning cycle. So our economic development district gets funding from the Economic Development Administration. And the way they use that to hold us accountable is we have to develop a 5-year economic development plan for the Prince William Sound region. And so this year, we're doing the next cycle for 2026 to 2031. Sounds crazy to talk about being in the 30s, but so yeah, that's the flyer that the planner put in the packet. And we I'm just making the rounds at planning and zoning commission meetings and city council meetings to let folks know that we have a survey that's out that is open, and the survey is one part of there are 4 required elements for the comprehensive economic development strategy that we put together. So there's a survey, a strengths, weaknesses and opportunities and threats, a SWOT analysis. We come up with a work plan or an action plan with goals and strategies, and then an evaluation framework. And we think we hope to have a plan completed by the end of January for the next 5 years. And I think probably you all know this from working with comprehensive plans at the city level, but it really helps to have community priorities named in this plan, or to have specific interests named in here, because then when you or we go for funding, we can say, look, we surveyed the community and this was mentioned, this is what came up in comments coming back from the community. So yeah, so the first step is we're just opening up this survey, and there's a QR code on the page in the packet that you can use to go in and take the survey. And it's going to be open for about a month, and I'm hoping we can generate all across the sound. I would love to see 100 responses. Doesn't sound like a lot, but but it's sometimes you really have to shake the bushes a little bit. Yeah, so 5-year plan, it's for our comprehensive economic development strategy. Do folks have any questions? I guess I could add, we are also going to have some small group discussions by topic. We have 4 small groups. One of them is infrastructure, transportation, and energy. One is fisheries and seafood, one is housing, and one is tourism and outdoor recreation. So that's another way that we're gonna be collecting data from people who are, you know, stakeholders, leaders in those topic areas. Yeah, and I'm happy to come back and share results with you later, but it would be great if you all, as planners, would consider taking the survey and could contribute your voices to that. That would be a huge help to us. And also, if you have other networks that you could share this with, that's great too. Yeah, so any chance you get to mention it to folks.
Thank you. Any questions? Missy?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any audience comments regarding the agenda items?
Hi there, Katrina Hoffman, 700 New England Cannery Road. I'm just here to answer any questions if you have them about the old Sea Grant lease. Should be pretty straightforward, but wanted to make myself available.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other audience comments regarding agenda items? Okay, hearing none, planners reporters. Does anyone have any questions for the planner?
I do. I've been out a little bit, so. Lot 2, block 7,
Yeah,
where is that?
that is right next to Bayside Storage.
And lots 1 and 2, block 5.
1 and 2, block 5 are between Center Drive and Copper River Highway.
Okay, and then finally lot 1, block 7. Oh, sorry,
Well,
portion of lots 11 through 14.
up Ski Hill, right next to the AT&T Earth Station.
Gotcha, okay. I just wanted to get this clear,
Yeah.
and thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And the city TDOT thing is still moving forward for RFP?
Yeah, city council asked us to put out, or me to put out a RFP for lease.
Cause that was before the RFP was put in for the breakwater fill.
It was, so that RFP already ran for the breakwater fill lot, and then it just hadn't been to council yet, because there was one for purchase, then one for lease that was ran, and so they just it hadn't gone to city council yet at that time, so we'll still run that RFP for lease, because that's already been asked, and if nobody puts in for it, then no one puts in for it.
Any other questions? Okay, moving on, we have no unfinished business and new business, letter of interest for a portion of lot 3, block 7A, Tidewater Development Park. Old Sea Grant Building by the Prince William Sound Science Center, Street.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move to recommend that city council dispose of a portion of lot 3, block 7A, Tidewater Development Park. AKA the old Sea Grant Building, a structure that is approximately 750 square feet as outlined in Prohibited Municipal Code 7.40.060B by number 1.
Seconded.
Okay, Commissioner Glenn, would you like to speak to your motion?
I don't really have much to say, other than that they leased this as long as I can remember, and it doesn't have a lot of I think purpose that other than a harbor user would use it for, and I think that it's something that works really well for them, so.
Commissioner Rainey?
Yeah, no, I concur with Commissioner Bowen. I think that this has been a long-standing arrangement. I don't see any reason to really rock the boat on it unless other commissioners or community members have say so now, I guess. As it stands, it seems fairly straightforward.
Any other commissioner comments? Those online?
Question?
comments regarding the motion on the floor right now?
Did she call for a motion?
I couldn't really hear her very well.
She said question.
Gail?
Oh, just calling the question?
Was she asking if we're calling the question? I was just asking if either, you or Commissioner Donato have any, discussion about the motion on the floor.
I support it. I have no other things to add.
Okay. Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
I,
Aye.
Uh,
Hearing none opposed, motion passes. Okay, moving on to letter of interest for a portion of tract A, USS 833 wastewater treatment facility by Cordova Telecom Cooperatives. Page 7.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
I move to recommend the city council redesignate a portion of tract A. US Survey 833 on land disposal maps from unavailable to available. And to dispose of a portion of approximately up to 9,000 square feet as outlined in the Cordova Municipal Code 7.40.060 B by negotiating an agreement with the party who submitted the letter of interest to lease the property, Cordova Telecom Cooperative.
Second.
Okay. Commissioner Hall, would you like to speak to your motion?
I did a little, asked a couple questions of the planner and they're hoping to be able to blast a big chunk out, which is gonna be the 9,000 square foot, but if they can't economically do that, they're just gonna have a small building, the 30 by 30, so it'll be a much smaller site, but that'll be done in the negotiations. It's just the site. This site really can't go to anybody else. Cause it's not a buildable for housing or any other real development, it's down by the septic, nobody wants to live down there. There's no reason you can go to an RFP, in my opinion, because of what this one actually is.
Who's the second on that? Okay, go ahead.
I think this is something that the community will benefit greatly from. And also the city as well, and telephone company. We did speak about this in our weekly meeting at the Public Works. I had a little, some concern with access, but that was pointed out that that's a non-issue. And I think it's kind of a no-brainer, so. That's all I had.
Any other commissioner comments?
yeah, I would just like to agree with Commissioner Hall. I think that that is. That property has fairly limited use cases otherwise, so yeah, I don't see any particular reason not to go directly to negotiation.
Commissioner Tremblay?
No comment.
Commissioner Fooey, any comments? Commissioner Donato, any comments?
No comments.
Okay. Commissioner Fooey, any comment?
no comment.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Hearing none opposed, motion passes. Okay, to C, hazard mitigation plan review and comment period. Do we have a motion?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move to recommend the city council, or I move to recommend the city of Cordova 2025 hazard mitigation plan be finalized with no additional comments, board planning from the planning commission.
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Ready, would you like to speak to your motion?
Okay, well, I actually do have a number of comments. Uh, So I have a number of typographical errors that I wanna bring up first. The first being on, here, I'll get this up real quick. On page V. There is on section 4-3, it does not have a page defined. So it just needs to be 4-5. Yeah, it just has an error bookmark, not defined. That just needs to be updated. On 3-2, it has it states the US Coast Guard buoy tender sycamore, that should be fir. On 3-2, there is the phrase not available generally October through the winter. I think that is just a bit funky, that should be reworded. On 3-2, there's reference to a Mount Yack Elementary. I'm not sure. Is that like a homeschool group or is that in error? Does anyone know?
Yeah, that was just a error with the consultant, so that one's actually picked up already.
Okay, perfect. Okay, and 4-3, I think December 2001 avalanche could use more detail. It doesn't say where that was. On 4-7, Rude River, I believe that should be Rude River. In 4-10, it says of road along Orca Inlet. Like, or off road along Orca Inlet, that should be off the road along Orca Inlet or something similar. And 4-11, there isn't a lot of detail in the history section on the floods. I think that could use more detail of what flooded that caused damage. And 4-15, Cordova is misspelled in one of the instances of Cordova. In 4-16. I gotta check with myself. There's a say event, I think it should be events. Yeah. Paragraph was that. Yeah, no, winter storm event days each year, that's winter storm events. Anyway, yeah. In 5-7, there needs to be a space between 2015 and. Then figures 3A, 3B, 5, 10A, 10B, 13A, and 13B. The critical facilities in the legend need to be yellow instead of gray. The mark on the dot, the mark in the legend and the mark on the maps don't match. And then in figure 9A and 9B, it's a little difficult to read because the critical facilities are marked in yellow and the landslide zones 32 through 47 moderate are also marked in yellow and are oftentimes about the same size as the marks for the critical facilities. So then I also have some recommendations in 3.1. There is the sentence. The area has historically been home to the Alutiiq and migrating Athabascan and Tlingit Native Alaskans who called themselves Eaks. I think that is not particularly an accurate statement.
Yeah, we already We got a correction on that one already.
Excellent, perfect. Okay, there are a lot of studies and other things that are alluded to throughout the paper that I think could use proper citation. The probably the most egregious one is in the section for climate change. It's there is a on 4-5 recurrence probability according to NASA, quote, the current warming trend, blah, blah, blah. Who the hell is NASA? NASA doesn't say things, people say things. I want to be able to find, who said this, where did they say it? Has this been, has there been any commentary on this in the scientific community, that kind of thing? And so I just, so yeah, 4-4, the studies in 4-4, 4-5, 4-6, 4-8, 4-12, and 4-17, I believe could use better citation. I also wanted to bring up the possibility of adding comment on the possibility of a Hudson Bay landslide, both the landslide section and the tsunami section. I believe, I can't remember exactly where I came across that, but I believe that was seen as a fairly high likelihood for tsunami in one of the past reports. So I just think that would be a good one to highlight. Then in the information on volcanoes, this one's not as critical, but I thought it might be good to add information about both the Denali Gap for why there aren't any volcanoes particularly close to Cordova, and maybe talk about Nova Rapta in 1912, because that's probably the most significant volcanic activity to happen to this area in recorded history. So that seems like it would be good to have information about. And then similarly, in the section on earthquakes, I think we should probably have highlight the 1911 and 1899 earthquakes, because they actually had, a significant uplift in this area. The only earthquake, I believe, that are noted in the historical section that had a significant uplift that was noted in the paper is the 1964 earthquake, which might give the public the impression that those are very rare, when those actually, there have been several others in recorded history. I think that is it for me.
Thank you. Commissioner Bullen, would you like to speak to your second? Okay, any other commissioner comments?
You're
Commissioner
very
Kemper?
thorough. Thank you.
Just a query. They talked about having GIS and stuff, information, and dawned on me. Does the city actually have an offsite out of this building backup of that? So if something happened here, there's a backup of all city data somewhere else, or is it all stored in this one building, and if something happens here,
Everything's online.
it's online,
Yeah.
but where's the server that you get it from?
Microsoft,
Oh, so it's
yeah,
down Washington State,
somewhere
yeah.
In the cloud somewhere.
across the
It's in the
country
cloud,
in
okay.
data centers.
Yeah.
Just wanna make sure there's something somewhere else.
Okay, comments from those online, Commissioner Nato?
I concur with Commissioner Rainey's assessment.
Commissioner Foodie?
No comment. Looks like we're moving forward and staying updated. I really like the idea of having a backup, especially with all the changes in FEMA and funding of NOAA and stuff like that. Be very interesting to know where their data center is. Maybe they don't tell us because it's secret. I don't know, Microsoft.
Okay, and I suppose moving forward, seems like there was consensus on a lot of the comments that you put in. It sounds like a lot of them have already been addressed.
Yeah, we've gotten comments similar to some of those. I'm gonna have to obviously go back and listen to this again to get all of those down. I couldn't keep up with you, but yeah, no, those were all great. A couple of them obviously wish we would have caught in the first round, especially like the spelling and the sycamore for mix up, so. Yeah. I guess the plan really was to have you open up the discussion like you did, and then if you do have consensus on all of the comments that are made, then you could just amend the motion to, you know, direct staff to submit the agreed upon comments by planning commission to go into the final draft. So, or to be considered as, you know, reviewed by the final draft.
So Mike, I have a question. So he did bring up a few historical knowledge things, that he asked for, like, what was it, the flooding, that there wasn't a lot of detail, and then the December 1st avalanche. So those will be looked into too.
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay, so we're looking for a motion to amend.
Madam Chair, I move to amend the motion to include commissioner comments.
A second.
Okay,
Yeah.
so now we can, is there any discussion on? Do I expect us vote to amend the motion? So all those in favor of amending the motion to include commissioner comments in the update plan?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Okay, now we have any discussion on the motion as amended? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes as amended. Okay. And we can make sure to work with staff to make sure if you get all those notes, we can go through again.
Yeah, like I said, I'll go back, re-listen to the conversation, make sure all the comments are captured, and then we'll review those when we're doing the final update before that goes to council for their review and hopefully approval, so.
Okay, moving on to land disposal map review regarding rural cap mutual self-help housing program, page 15.
Madam Chair, I move to recommend city council review the following city properties as identified. There's a bunch of legal descriptions. And by the planning commission for the possible land disposal to rural caps self-help housing program.
Do we have a second? Commissioner Hall, would you like to speak to your motion?
We talked about this a couple meetings ago, and this is just some nicer maps. And they're all potential sites. And that's all these really are potential sites. They're gonna need, some of them are gonna need some development work, and the only thing I could think to add would be, possibly being able to give potential owners land discount for development of infrastructure that is retained by the city. I.e., if they have to build a road or put in utilities, it may be helpful. I know the city really needs the money, but it's really expensive to develop and then buy the land. And if we can give the people who are trying to build these rural cap houses a break on, you know, hey, you built $100,000 road. We'll give you a percentage off of your lots or something. That was just a thought, but. That would be a negotiation that the city council would have to do, but it was just a thought that I wanted to throw out. Other than that, nothing.
If you're ready, just speak to you second.
Yeah, no, I think that we've already discussed these fairly extensively. The one thing I did want to bring up is that I believe 2 of these properties have since come in front of us for other interested parties. So I was wondering if we felt like we should take those off, or if we should just let that process play out, and if they aren't available, then they're just not available, then Rural Cap gets back to us. Yeah, specifically the ones in around Odiak Park, not the ones up Speed Hour.
Yep, those already have ours out.
I think if you identify lands and if they're available or not available at the time when Rural Cap does come here to do something or make some kind of negotiation for properties, they could put an RFP in as well for the properties, so it's. I think that you can identify whatever land you feel like would be. They would be able to put 6 to 12 houses on, and then if they're not available at that time. Those will just take themselves off the list.
Yeah, so there's no legal barrier to doing that, but yeah, I was just wondering if that was something that. The commission felt like, since there has been interest shown by members of the community at this point, then yeah, should we take those off, or do you think we should just keep them on?
I don't think it hurts to leave them on at this point. The one up by Ski Hill. They're looking at this stuff. That's on the northwest of Ski Hill Road. And the other one is looking at the stuff southeast of Ski Hill Road, so.
Okay, so yeah, I guess there's no
The
conflict.
only advantage, if they could do theirs at the same time, because it's gonna take a re-subdivision, they could re-subdivide that whole thing in one survey between the 2 of them, so it might be advantageous.
Okay.
Yeah, I would concur, I think leaving it all up, you know, like the other. Well, we're waiting for our piece back, but the assumption is this is all gonna be for housing, whether it is someone building. Houses up there or, yeah, so I think it's fine, leave them up. And they could be left up if we don't get any. People back interested in those or don't get good RFPs back. Or proposals back. They can still be left up there in case Rural Cap is interested. Any further discussion, folks online?
I did have some
Yeah.
questions, on the properties off of Main Street up top there.
You know, the ones on observation now. These ones,
Yeah. We have some corner lots that are listed, what? These 3 lots with the arrows to them?
Yeah. They were just small, so I was trying to point in with an arrow what the number is, cause if you look at, I put all of the tax lot numbers or the parcel numbers on each one, yeah.
Okay.
So I wasn't specifically
Yeah, that number
identifying
won't
the
fit in
size.
that.
Yeah, exactly.
I will say, in regards to those properties, I was fairly curious about them, so I did go and scamper around up the hill. Good luck to whoever wants to build there. Just,
I looked at them when I was looking at property and felt the same. It's tough. Yeah. Okay, any other questions,
Just looking at this, there's some lots on Davis that are attached to this. That front Davis. that she doesn't have the, I'm just
Okay.
noticed the parcel numbers aren't on there. Are those not being included or?
No, I think those are on a different,
Oh,
those might be on a different page.
oh, yeah, they're shown in blue on the next page. Okay. That's when parcel numbers really don't make a big difference. So they're there. Just want to make sure they're
Yeah.
there. Those are gonna be ugly too, so
Yeah.
I've looked at those.
Okay,
If you guys wanna add to the list, if you wanna go on page 16 and page 17. And then tell me what numbers, 1 through 8 that you leave up in there. So that I can add it to this motion. That's on the floor.
these were the lots that we identified the last time.
Yeah.
We met.
Yeah, cause in the motion, they said, Mark said, insert legal descriptions here, or Commissioner Hall said that, so. If you could insert the legal descriptions, I'll just take the number of each one that you're approving. And we can do that, so you don't have to put in, say, each lot that's on there or each parcel number by themselves, so.
Can we just say items 1 through 8?
Yeah, that's fine as well.
And my understanding of this is just, these are lots that we are offering as
Potential.
potential.
Mhm.
We're not setting them aside for.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Specifically, yeah.
Just wanted to make a. I noticed that, it says West Shed Road.
Yeah, cause that's what, so basically. The land disposal map that corresponds with that is. Header says White Shed Road. So it's trying to correspond with that same land disposal map,
I understand.
but. It is the copper driveway, so. So I try to put it on the other side of it, so it's not by the road.
I do see that, yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so do we need to amend the motion to have the list of items number 1 through 8, or has that been added to the motion at this point?
I think you can just add it to the motion. If ever, and then we can vote on it, because he did say,
Lot numbers.
insert legal description here. So,
So is there any, discussion or hesitation about any of these, or are we? Or any discussion regarding 1 through 8 being included?
Curious about the property above the cemetery, how do you access that?
I believe the discussion last time had it where the road that's currently going into the cemetery. That would be improved to accommodate it as a right of way.
to be determined. In the future, but that could be a possibility. Having the private. Road just for that subdivision through the cemetery, however, there's a way to go. If a road could be established up, I think it's Cedar, what's the last one? Right after Vina Young, is it Spruce? Okay, yeah, so it go up Spruce and then drop down. So there's other ways we could look at accessing that lot, but that would be something. You know, someone like rural cap would need to do for their due diligence when. Figuring out what land they do wanna,
I understand,
possibly
I
go
just. I've spent some time in the. Cemetery with tree removal and snow removal. The graves are awful close to that road. So I don't know about improving it enough to make it an actual city street would be feasible.
Yeah. Yeah, we have talked that over as well, and I think that a private one. Like one car in, one car out would be what that road could handle, so.
And there, the graves could be moved, but that is difficult.
I don't
I
know,
wouldn't wanna go through that process, but that would be up to whoever wants to access and build that access.
yeah, I don't know that the city would, entertain that at this time, but it definitely could be put on the table and discussed through.
And just one last thing on that too, and I know this is just the Cordova Mill, but, I am also told that up above that road, there are, a bunch of unidentified graves as well, so that's just something to be.
Yeah, so that would definitely need to be explored before we would ever dispose of any kind of land up there.
Yeah.
We would need to know, identify all of the burials, before releasing any type of land over there.
I suppose my understanding is these are potential sites, but they're not necessarily green light. Yes, they're buildable with access and all the other things, most of these have pretty appalling access. And may or may not, work or need significant development or to work, but they're the best that we can offer,
Well, like U3, I've been the planner, last 3 planners. Discussing those properties up on the hill there, and the access is just. Null to none, I mean, you'd almost have to buy other properties just to be able to access it, it's just not feasible.
Any other comments or discussion regarding 1 through 8? Properties 1 through 8? Those online?
Yeah, I mean, I think the lots behind the cemetery, maybe we should pull those off as of the city disposal. Lots, I don't know. That's just kind of my thought. Seems like it's, if there's already existing graves up there and there's not an easement that, could be developed easily, like it's probably only gonna upset more community members than anything.
I would say that we don't actually know that there's graves up there, that's just a rumor, I understand it, right?
Yeah, this is Gail. We had the property next to there, and I have relatives in that grave. There have been caskets coming out of the ground down the creek. So, and I think that there's ways to be able to assess where people are there. Maybe have the archaeologists come help us find people. And we can always take this off if it leads to that. But I think we should consider, given how little property is available and accessible, we should leave it on the list, but proceed with care and caution and info. We can always close it down. I think probably an archaeologist would be able to tell us timelines on that. I support the motion, leaving it on. That's enough on my part.
If I understand correctly, this is the current land disposal maps,
Mhm.
so it is
Yes.
available currently just with subdivision.
Yes.
Okay.
Is it conversation that you've had with Corp at all
About what?
about graves behind that cemetery?
Not really, because,
I don't
we
think
own that land, so I haven't really talked to them about that.
Yeah, my understanding is that if rural cap or any other interested party were interested in that lot, that's when more investigative work would be put in.
Yeah, ground
Yeah.
penetrating radar,
Yeah,
make sure that they can see everything.
and that could be part of the subdivision, sorry, it's possible that if there are graves up there, they may not be over the entire tract, they might be over part of it, so you could subdivide out, maybe expand the graveyard.
And these are just potential sites,
They're
not,
just potential, yeah.
Yeah, I believe that has been the discussion whenever we've brought up that property is the reason why it's available requires subdivision is because if we ever were to sell it, we would need to actually define exactly where the cemetery was.
Yep.
So I don't see any reason why it shouldn't be on the list, because even if the graves go farther up the hill, then just means that the area that is defined as the cemetery will just be bigger, and it may be more attractive, less attractive, whatever.
Any other comments or concerns? Okay, hearing none, all of those in favor of recommending.
Oh, can we
Because this
state-
is the motion.
Yeah, can we say we didn't amend it, we just included what,
The law numbers.
yeah, the lot numbers.
So the motion on the floor is moving to recommend that city council review the following city properties 1 through 8 as defined in the packet. By the planning commission for possible land disposal to rural cap self-help housing program. As I understand your motion,
Correct.
correct? Okay,
voted on that.
well, so now that you've added the 8,
Right.
so all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Hearing none opposed, motion passes. Okay, audience comments? Seeing none, commission comments, we'll go around the room. Starting with you, Commissioner Rainey.
Yeah, I just wanna thank staff, you guys always work really hard on these, but this one especially, it's very, document heavy. Thanks for getting it all put together.
Thanks.
Commissioner Bullen?
I concur, I've missed a few meetings, so I know you guys have been busy and I appreciate all your guys' work. And glad to be back, but also, just kudos to Amanda, she's been really busy. And, great tactics, great meetings, and, I have some questions about some earthquakes. Indeed.
Thank you.
Vice Chair Hall?
Thank you, Amanda. Thanks to the rest of the commissioners.
Commissioner Tremblay?
Thank you, staff, and thank you, Chris, for being so thorough on going over that and catching a lot of those things. I do appreciate that, so. That's all I've got, thank you.
Commissioner Foodie?
Yeah, thank commissioners for showing up to roll this ball forward. And thanks staff for updates, and we just keep our eyes open and ask people to participate in this possible and wonderful housing opportunity. Also the Science Center, I love the idea that we keep stuff that's worked. And I plan to at least find one other person to take the survey. And I'll take it too. Thanks.
Commissioner Donato?
Just would like to thank staff and all the other commissioners for their time.
And likewise, thank you, Amanda, thank you, the rest of the commission. Thank you for, to Kristen for being our guest speaker. And with that,
Madam Chair, I move to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
we have a motion and second, we are adjourned at 7:20.
Oh, good mention. Like, 1911.
Yeah.
And then 1990.